Hello, everyone, and welcome to the 47th episode of Kouryer Podcast. Today, I'm joined with Callie Wei. She's a concept artist and also visual development artist from Los Angeles, California, United States. Now, before we hop into the questions, I want to, for anyone who's been listening to the podcast for the past 4 or 5 episodes, you might know by now that there's a giveaway going on right now, and you have just one more day remaining to enter the giveaway, Photoshop course giveaway, and today is 20th of March, and 14th of March was the anniversary of the podcast, and we started giveaway then, 14th, and it's going to be on for a week after that, which means 21st of March, which is tomorrow. So make sure to enter the giveaway if you haven't, if you're interested, of course, and maybe you know a friend or someone who might be interested as well. You can introduce that to them as well. And well, that's it. Let's get to the questions. Let's start with the first one. Give us a little introduction on how we got into visual arts and design.
Hello, I'm Callie. So, how I got started, I think I've always been the artsy kid growing up. Um, I would say my start was not that similar to other people because I think other people started really enjoying art. And for me, I think my parents kind of forced me into taking art classes. And as a kid, if it's forced on you, you don't really enjoy it. It seemed like I was pretty decent at it, so they just kept making me continue. And come high school, I started uh, really being very introspective and trying to understand what I wanted to do with my life. And I kind of, uh, I kind of unofficially dropped out of high school. I didn't actually drop off. I just ditched a lot of school so I could go to trade schools that you might have know. It's Brainstorm and CDA. So I would ditch school so that I could go to these classes, and then uh, I think after graduating high school, I went to art center, um, and after that, just been taking classes and working on and off. Yeah.
And actually, I've seen when I was going through your Instagram, I was doing a background check, and I saw took a class with J Park Art, if I'm not mistaken.
Oh yeah, John. he's like he's like an older brother to me, but I would say like his mentorship. I took his first in-person mentorship when he first announced it at Brainstorm, and I took it for a year. It was very life-changing, I guess, because he definitely changed the way that I viewed myself. I wasn't really in a great place at the time. I wasn't very confident about my work or my potential or typical worries of a student about the future and whatnot. And he really um, talked me out of that and also talked me into having a healthier relationship with art, maintaining a work life balance. And on top of that, I think it's just very rare to find a teacher who is not only a great artist, but also a great instructor, mentor, and who genuinely cares about his students. So I think that just accounts to how successful he's become, just relentlessly working and caring about his students. And yeah, I can't thank him enough. Jump Park.
Yeah, shout out to John Park. And were you originally? I mean, of course, you explained a bit to us about this, but by the way, for I've never explained this, but for anyone who's wondering, or like if you see my video right now, like you see my face getting a bit white. Now it's not. Now it gets white. It's because I have a notepad on. I read the questions from there. I mean, for anyone who's
Oh,
just wondering, were you originally studying art and design, or you were pursuing another career path? And I mean, of course, you already explained, but if you could like go more in depth about it.
yes. So I didn't know what I wanted to do because there were many things I was interested in, but I didn't particularly like one thing. But then I did more research into concept art and the like I wanted to see if we could make money out of this, and I figured out, oh yes, you actually can make some good money out of this, while also challenging yourself on a day to day on the artist journey. So Um, yeah, I think in high school, when I took like 6 months to think about what I wanted to do and kind of took some portfolio prep class and learned more about concept art as a career choice. And yeah, it's been my only path so far. So I'm just fortunate that it worked out in the end. Otherwise, I don't have any idea what I'd be doing right now.
All right, awesome. And it's interesting that concept art is such a popular field among especially people our age. Like because I'm gonna be honest, my favorite, like I interviewed a lot of artists on this show, but concept art is, like, I guess I could say it's my favorite field that I want to actually get good at. That would be exciting and interesting for me.
Hmm.
So it's interesting.
So are
And
you pursuing to be a concept artist?
yeah, yeah,
Or mm,
concept artist, yeah. And I'm not exactly sure if it's going to be like environment art or character art, because here's the problem with me is that I love a lot of stuff. Even since I
okay.
was a kid, I had that problem with everything. I didn't know which major I should choose.
I
I had
feel
I
that, dude.
I bounced back a lot. I changed majors 3 times during university, but in the end, I dropped out of uni. Like, long story, I'm not gonna get into it. But yeah, I mean, it's like this kind of paradox of choice is also crippling me a bit in when it comes to art and concept art. So I mean, I figured out that I want to go to concept art, but I'm still not sure 100% which one, because I know if you want to become successful and be active in the industry, like as a professional, you need to kind of laser focus on one thing instead of, like, shooting like a shotgun, like, all over the
Yeah.
place.
Yeah, specializing definitely helps a lot.
Yeah,
Like so many dedicated
and
hours to this craft.
I think I'm right now I'm doing like a Udemy course, digital art course, and first I
Mm,
need to learn Photoshop well and just basics of fundamentals of drawing. Then after that, I think I have a lot of time ahead of me. I shouldn't worry about this. So first I need to learn the fundamentals and the software, because before that I used to be like a graphic designer majorly, and I could
oh,
say I'm pretty good at graphic design, and Adobe Illustrator is the software I am the best at. And
I feel like those skills would lend itself
mhm,
really well to concept art,
mhm.
graphic design for entertainment. I think that's really useful.
Awesome. And next question is, now, of course, we talked about concept art, and I already mentioned that you are a concept and visual development artist. But what is your main branch of design that you're focusing on right now? And tell us about your experience from the start of it until now.
So, what specific branch of concept in biz dev that I work in and focus in?
Yes.
Okay, so when I was learning, I was very laser focused on realistic, hyper realistic style, like AAA style game sort of look, and that's mostly catered towards concept art. And then I learned about visual development, which is more stylized, more based on emotion and storytelling. So that's why I've been taking classes just to kind of make that transition in around the animation industry. And right now I'm working in backgrounds, painting background designs. Um, Currently for a music video that's gonna come out soon, so that's really exciting. But even though right now I'm working on backgrounds, I think it's a really essential skill to build up my painting skills. I think I might have um, I probably relied too heavily on photos before, so I'm trying to like really focus on my foundations and focus on my ability to tell stories, which is like a completely different skill. So it kind of feels like I'm going from student to another student, like another branch, and it's very exciting. And yeah, I'm just hoping to work in biz dev roles, hopefully in the near future. But for now, it's like I really want to focus on getting better at painting stylized work, and that's the work that I'm taking right now. So after this job is over, I'm gonna probably be taking somewhat of a break to update my portfolio and really hone in those technical skills.
Awesome. And I mean, I just need to mention, I love the aesthetic of the background of your office and home office. It looks so pretty and clean and professional. like
Oh
with the
wow, that's
plant
so
and
cool.
everything.
Thank you so
Yes,
much.
yes. Sorry, audio listeners. Maybe you should try to watch the listen to the podcast on YouTube. I don't know. I mean,
To
you
check out your
you never know what her
library.
office looks like until you check the YouTube version. So I mean, yeah, and while you're there, go subscribe. Sorry, I'm just selling out. Let's just go to.
No, you
Let's
gotta
just,
put that plug in.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah, you put effort in.
And yeah, thanks. And all right, next question. How does your design process usually go anytime you want to start working on a project?
I would say no matter what project I'm on, it's pretty similar where you talk with the art director or whoever is your client and ask them if they have any existing reference images that they tend to lean towards, asking them all the questions to describe what exactly they want, just to narrow down your options to make sure that you're hitting or you guys are on the same page. So after discussing and getting reference, or if you have to get reference and checking that reference with the art director to make sure it all checks out, then you would start iterating and making variations with sketching and then value and then color. And then depending on the style, um, that would depend on what process you would choose. So if it's like more realistic, then you would get a lot more photo reference and do a lot and apply a lot more matte painting techniques. Whereas if it's stylized, it's a lot like looser. And then when you're refining it, it's like I would say it's a lot more painting in Photoshop and feeling it out. And honestly, I think that's way scarier um, than hyper realistic stuff just because if it's a photo, it kind of is, they do a lot of the work for you already in terms of details. And realistic is like already, you already know what realistic looks like because we live in a realistic world. Whereas for a stylized show, it can be hit or miss, just depending, there's just this whole range of colors to lighting to even the shape design um, that you have to hone in. But yeah, that's my process. Sketch to final.
All right, awesome. And all right, now I want to talk about some of the stuff you put on your Instagram, some of your works. And the first thing that actually caught my eye is that you did a post on Instagram about, like, basically so your second last post, Nickelodeon, a Star Trek prodigy.
Hmm.
What's that about? Tell us about it.
So that was just a freelance project that I had been brought on. I was referred there by two of my friends, Claire Sim, who's my coworker before at Sony, and she's amazing. I'm gonna plug her name in because she is just the most amazing person I've ever met. And my other friend, Kui Ho, who is a concept artist at Riot. Okay, I'm just plugging them in because I love them, and they helped me get that freelance job. But it's a very exciting project. I was only there for a very short amount of time, but um, I'm very excited when it does come out. And what I worked on was a lot of technical stuff. So without revealing too much, I was breaking down concepts, making sense of them. So in a stylized show, they will have painterly, loosey goosey brushstrokes of, say, a spaceship or something, or a landscape or something. And I was brought on to kind of define those details and define the little patterns and motifs that are seen on each of these surfaces in a scene. Yeah. And
Awesome.
they're
And
also amazing people on that team. So
oh, all right, pretty cool. And other thing that actually really surprised me, and I'm actually really impressed. One of your works, I think it's kind of like an architectural sketch. I mean, by the way, guys, for anyone who already watched the video version of the podcast, you've seen that for every guest, I put also like a time lapse of their works. So anything I'm talking about right now, you can see it in the time lapse later. So do check it out. And the thing I want to talk about is that, like, it's kind of like an architectural sketch, and apparently 3D Total, I think they're an art page, I don't know, or organization. They published one of your sketches in their book called Beginner's Guide to Sketching Robots, Vehicles, and Sci-Fi Concepts. And tell us about that.
Yeah, that was actually a while ago,
Yeah,
man.
2 years ago, 3 years
You're
ago.
like reminding me I need to update my portfolio. So embarrassing. But it was really nice, really random. It was actually during the mentorship where they contacted me. Super cool opportunity. They wanted me to do a commission for their book that was coming out, to do a just like a designed out, start to finish traditional, um, sci-fi designed building. So I think it was a very interesting process because I had to take pictures of every step of the process, and this was my first time doing some sort of tutorial. And also felt kind of old school because I was like taking out all the traditional medium out. Um, Kind of like brought me back to some of my portfolio development days where I was doing a lot of, I don't know, what is it? Copic markers. And it's very, very interesting. But yeah, for the process of that, I got reference for a foreign language aesthetic and a, a type of architecture that I wanted. So I was combining NASA sci-fi form language and, um, what was the architecture on that? I'm gonna say it was Islamic architecture because it was so long ago. I don't remember.
No, it's actually like geometric, kind of futuristic architecture, like with roof gardens and blue windows, triangular windows. Yeah, water fountain. That's all. I mean, I don't. I like. I guess in a sense, like you could say that. No, I'm just gonna be real. That doesn't look Islamic at all. Maybe that's something else here.
Yeah, I was not expecting you to ask a question about that.
Sorry.
No. I mean, that's maybe it's been a while, man.
Yeah.
But it was a combination of a certain architecture and NASA.
Hmm.
But I think the interesting part about this process is kind of figuring out the percentage
Mm-hmm.
of architecture versus sci-fi form language. So I did do like a couple of variation sketches,
Mm-hmm.
mm, and it was all traditional. And then I scanned it in, and um, I just tried to have a good amount of big, medium, small shapes, and make sure that there's an entrance and all the indications of it being a building that
Mm-hmm.
people enter and exit, and that there are windows, show some sense of scale, and some vegetation to bring some organic into the hard surface.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, it was fun. It was I would like to try something again, but maybe digital. Traditional can take some time because printers and scanners are outdated.
Yeah. And well, let's move on to the next question. All right, this question is kind of like one of those that I always get the same reaction from everyone. They like, I mean, I'm not all right. I'm not gonna say, I'm gonna say what it is, and it's probably gonna be the same as everyone else's reaction. The question is, who are your favorite artists and designers that have inspired you the most?
That's a good question. Because there's so many great artists, and as I have, um, like, the more that I'm in this industry, I am just introduced to even more and more amazing artists. Um, so I would say my favorite artists have changed over the years. It used to be very realistic, and now it's more stylized. But of course, John Park will always be one of my inspirations. Just not just his artwork, but he's kind of like. Have you watched Naruto? Okay,
I've seen it, but not like I've
okay,
seen it. Not I haven't watched it. I just I'm gonna be honest. I just watched a 20-minute YouTube video explain the whole lore for me because I was too lazy to sit down and watch 400 episodes. So
oh,
I
for
know
sure. No,
this,
no, it's all good. It's all
but I
good.
know the art style. I know the art style.
Okay, okay. Well, I was gonna reference like a character in that show that he reminds me of, but he basically is he has the ability to break down any type of art style and emulate it with his current skill set, whether it's stylized or realistic or an environment or a character, and being able to execute at such a high level. And I think that attests to how like he's able to teach so many different types of people, no matter like what subject matter or style that they're doing. So there's that, and also that he is a monster, man. He's like super hardworking, and I always admire people that are super hardworking over any kind of talent or whatever.
Hmm.
So there's him. And then my other favorites, there's one recent one that I kind of found. She's also very young.
Hmm.
I think she's at Netflix right now, but her name is Aaliyah Chen, I believe.
Hmm.
And her artworks are just absolutely stunning. And I think she has a sister as well, and they both have stunning artwork. I think it's Aaliyah Chen and Felicia Chen, but they're both just like, definitely on top of like one of my favorite emotional stylized work to look at. So I would like to kind of like reference them as I progress in my artist journey. And another one that I look up to, okay, this is gonna sound really cheesy, but I'm gonna say that I look up to my friends because my friends are so, there's just I've had the honor of being able to meet so many very very talented artists and become friends with them on a personal level. So, and there's so many of them too. So I'm just gonna give a shout out to my friends. To they know who they are, who just constantly inspire me and kick ass.
Awesome.
Yeah,
It's nice to end that section with like a wholesome note.
that
And
was so cheesy.
no, 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 not at all. No, not at all. Like, I mean, I kind of understand that because before I even get into drawing, like one. I guess in a sense, it's I couldn't say it's jealousy, but my friends who could draw, yeah, it's called jealousy. I mean, who am I kidding? I was jealous of them that they could draw. Like, and in a sense, they kind of inspired me, but it wasn't out of like, I guess, no, it wasn't even like hateful jealousy. It was just normal jealousy. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like,
yeah. You're jealous and inspired. It's like, oh, damn you, but also, oh, let's
yeah,
let's do it together, man.
yeah, exactly. And yeah, I mean, people around you could definitely have an influence on you. I mean, obviously,
Yeah, I
and
think environment really matters a lot.
mhm, definitely. And what is the main subject of your artworks, and what made them interesting to you?
I would say right now I'm focusing on environments, and usually it's like sci-fi environments with some architecture involved. And I'm gonna be honest with you. Like right now, I'm kind of like at a crossroads. I'm kind of trying to figure out what exactly I want from my art. I started with characters because I thought that was what I was interested in, but I wanted the world to place the characters in. So that's why I kind of just dived deep into environments for a while. I kind of just been there since. But recently, I've been wanting to really, especially this goes to concept art in general. It's more focused on the, say, gameplay, the design, and functionality of a piece, kind of like deeper levels to a design concept piece. Whereas animation style biz dev art is more focused on the story, the emotion, the light and color, and how the colors harmonize together in the style. And it's a very different medium. And I only figured it out recently, so I'm kind of transitioning into that field more and figuring out what I want to do. But I would say definitely down the line, I would want to do keyframes in the end, which is like a mix of an environment that's believable, that gives context to the characters, and the characters have some story behind them that makes the audience immersed in their world. So it'd be nice to eventually get there. I'm working towards it, man.
Awesome, awesome. And by the way, something has been really bugging me, and I forgot to ask you earlier. You said that John Park resembles to a particular character from Naruto. Who's that Naruto character? Please tell me, because it's kind of
Okay.
buggy me.
He's like this there's a really well-known character, like the mentor figure in that show, who's called Kakashi. And
Ah,
he's known
Kakashi. I know the guy.
yeah, he's he's known as like the copycat ninja.
Hmm.
So it was just really mind blowing to me when I was in John's mentorship to see him doing these super quick, high quality demos
Hmm.
for people of all sorts of styles and subject matters, from like a Halo style all the way to like a Riot style, all the way to like a matte painting, 3D Naughty Dog style, to like a
Wow.
even characters, props. It was such a huge range, even though he doesn't normally work in, I think his style is, it normally ranges in the more realistic side. Like
Hmm.
he has the ability and the strong foundation to, do demos for like anime looking characters. It was crazy. I was just very mind blown. I'm like, who are you? What are you made of? Give me some of that.
Wow. I mean, for anyone who's listening and doesn't understand what that means, I mean, that just, I'm just gonna put it like this: that, well, I'm gonna be honest, I'm at a loss for words how to explain this, but it's like super cool. I mean, I'm just gonna leave it at that. And
It is super cool.
because here's the thing: first, you have to realize how hard it is to master the fundamentals. There's a level to that. Imagine you're mastering fundamentals here. And sorry, audio listeners, you don't see the visual cues. I mean, again, that's your problem. You should go watch the YouTube version. Sorry. This is like the mastering the fundamentals. This is like finding your style. Then this is being fluid in style. You can just, as you said, copy any style as you can, like John Park. And he's like at this level.
Yeah, exactly. And I think a lot of like the top industry professionals are, they tend to hone in on a certain niche of like what they're really good at and what they really enjoy doing. Say if it's cars or 3D mechs, and they'll just become super good at that. That's going to be their thing. And I think John started by doing mechs and really focused on mechs to get a career. Um, he's really honed in on his craft, and it just shows how many hours he's put in. Um, Very, very inspiring for all of us plebeians.
Yeah, true, true. And all right, next
I sound
question.
like a fangirl.
No, I mean, it's kind of understandable. I mean, I've known the guy. I mean, of course, he's like a famous, like super talented person in the art scene. But like now the things you've also mentioned, I mean, I'm kind of a fanboy as well. So I mean, it's a natural thing, you know. It's like saying water is wet. I mean, if you're an appreciate like someone who appreciates art, you're just gonna be a fangirl boy of like Jump Park. You know,
Yeah, can't
it's
help it.
just I'm speaking facts. All right.
It's a natural process.
Yeah. And all right, let's go to the next question. What technologies and softwares do you mostly use for your works?
I use primarily Photoshop and a little bit of Blender, or SketchUp, depending on the show. Some shows require different 3D programs, but I'm trying to get more into Blender. Yeah,
Yeah, that's actually something I heard a lot. Is this a thing that for concept artists they need to also learn a 3D software for modeling? They should know basic modeling. Is that true?
I think if you want to be an environment artist at this point, I think it's very essential, especially if you want to work in concept art. I would say like especially if you want to work at a realistic looking studio, say Call of Duty or something like that, then I think it's like absolutely necessary. Like my friends who work there basically only, like most of their workflow is in 3D. So that, I think back then it wasn't as used, like you could get away without it. But of course, there's like people now where like they're just so good at painting where they don't necessarily need 3D, but um, I think it definitely helps speed up the process. Like it is a tool, but it does make things like way more efficient, for the pipeline process and being able to see things in different viewpoints without having to fudge around a bunch of random layers. Like way more efficient. Yeah.
And yeah, I mean, Blender is such like awesome open source software, and there's like like it's it's one of those things that you don't even have to pay a single cent when it comes to, if you want to be a master at Blender, there's literally nothing is stopping you unless you just need an internet connection, and that's it. Even if you're from a third world country where YouTube is filtered, you can just get a VPN, cheap VPN, or free VPN. There's free VPNs that are, of course, free VPNs are unsafe, but like Hotspot Shield is like one of the good ones, that's trustworthy. I've been using it for like, wow, I've been using Hotspot Shield for 10 years now.
Ooh,
Yeah, I mean, not sponsored, but that's just cool. There's also extensions of
maybe
it on browsers.
maybe I'll
Eh,
ask you about that later.
awesome. All right. And next question: any advice and tips for a good portfolio and resume for artists?
Technique wise, purely technique,
Mm,
or
in,
are you
in
saying
general,
like to get a job?
both if it's possible.
Um, I would say um, definitely having a mentor, a good mentor that is willing to give you their time in helping you bloom, helping you sprout, is very essential. The right mentor, definitely the type of person where you would want to work in the job they're currently working at, in the style that they're working at, I think is very important, whether it's more design based or more technique based. Um, some people are illustrators, some people are purely design focused. So I think truly understanding what exactly you want to do will help save a lot of time and help you choose the right mentors and the right classes to help get yourself kicked in that direction. Um, and in terms of education, I went to art center, but I want to be honest. I think the education I would recommend for much cheaper and much higher quality is definitely Brainstorm and CDA. There are more concept art, film type of classes at Brainstorm, but they are starting to bring more animation and biz dev classes in. CDA has more animation style classes, though they do have like 3D and more concept art type of classes as well. Um, they're relatively on the same timeline, and there's some other resources that I found that have been really awesome. I think I signed up for one of them recently, and it's more for animation, but I think it's called Rad How To Class. I think it's started by a storyboard guy, if I'm not wrong. But there's that, and then there is Learn Squared, the thing with Ashthorpe and Mache, depending on the style that you want. Yeah, there's so many classes online, man. So definitely that, taking classes, having a good mentor, and if you can afford it, a mentorship would be really essential.
Mm-hmm.
But before mentorship, it would be nice to have like sort of a direction and plan moving forward of what you want within some sort of timeline. And um, I think overall, in getting a job, I think the most important is being a good person and uplifting people around you so that you have a more positive and more fun time um, trying to learn together. I think like if you like put the ego out of the way and genuinely just try to have fun with what you're doing and improving with your classmates, it really helps in the long run. And you never know when, like maybe your classmate might help you down the line, and just remember that you were a really nice person in their life and they refer you. And I think that is super essential when it comes to getting a job. People remember the feeling you leave with them, not really your skill set, unless you're the super badass. So everyone kind of evens out in terms of like their skill gets to a certain level or it's good enough for the job. But after that, it becomes more like, are you easy to work with? Is your personality nice? And that's when it becomes more of an important part.
Yeah, I mean that's solely like pretty good point that you mentioned. In the previous episode, right now is episode 47 of Kouryer podcast. The last episode 46 was with Scott Thigpen, and he also said something interesting about this thing as well. That on the note of what you said, he also mentioned that when you want to send like cover letters to companies or even like go to interviews, like I know, like anytime anyone wants to write a cover letter, the first thing we all do, what we do, Google, right? And all the templates and platforms are like super formal and classy and oh my DS, please would you like the super formal. I don't know why did I do British accent, and basic. It kind of becomes like inhuman and robotic, this kind of behavior at some point,
Definitely.
and the point I'm trying to say is now just be authentic, just be yourself. Don't be worried that like if I show some like excitement or passion, does that sound unprofessional? I mean, of course, everything I'm saying right now is subject to like context. So I mean, of course, context matters, but in the end, like be yourself. Make your cover letters. Don't be like super formal and everything. It, as I said again, it depends on the company. I mean, of course, you should do your background check, but in general, try to be be a bit real. Just
Yeah.
talk out of your heart. Not just your
Yeah.
brain. And
Yeah.
here's
And
the thing. Oh, sorry, sorry. Go on.
no, 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 you keep going.
All
I
right, sorry,
interrupted you
sorry, sorry.
entirely.
No, no, sorry. And another thing is that in the end, we're not living in a robotic world, and what that means in that every single person and every organization is run by people, and people are social animals. We are social animals. I don't. That's a weird way to put it out, but that's true.
That's very
And
true.
what that means is karma here matters, I guess, as you kind of mentioned, that just being your and what that means is that what I'm trying to say is if you just do good to people, in some way it comes back at you, in your own field, because like in concept art field and just art entertainment scene, believe it or not, like it's not all over the world, we're not that much still. Like, I mean, it's kind of sounds wild, but everyone kind of knows everyone.
Yeah. It's a
So
very small industry.
yeah, and just be yourself, be genuine, do good by other people if they need help, if you could do, and don't try to go out of your way to help someone just so later I could get a favor from them. No.
Yeah,
That,
don't be fake. I feel like people see right through that, and
yeah,
it
exactly.
doesn't make you look good at all.
Yeah, I
So
mean, just be you, and sorry for everyone if the last 2 minutes were a bit confusing. But I hope I got the point across.
no,
And
I think you explained it well. Yeah,
all
try to
right,
be a good
thanks.
person, and also like even just like logically or like for interviews, when people interview you, like if a company interviews you, they're not really interviewing you because they're asking about your skill set. Like they might ask about your process and stuff, but they're interviewing you because your work already fits what they need and what they want. They're only interviewing you purely based on your personality and if you would fit as someone who's part of the team. I think that really usually, especially for like creative studios. So I think you can bring the charisma, turn that switch on. It helps a lot. And having like a good network really helps you get your foot in the door because there's already a familiarity that the recruiters um, don't have to work as hard. Like there's a trust involved there. They don't have to risk as much. It's very important. But don't talk to people just for that. That's not a good reason.
Yeah, and just one last thing to mention before we move on to the next question is that also another guest that also came on the show on episode 27, Caleb Arredondo. He was an intern at some point for Valorant and for the game Valorant at Riot Games,
Hmm.
and he told me about how he got the internship. Like he was laughing, and he said, "I couldn't believe I would get it." He basically what he said is that he applied to the job as a meme.
Oh,
And
interesting.
and I'm gonna get to the point. Basically, one of his works on ArtStation, like one of the sketches she did like a female character with guns. It basically resembled one of the characters in League of Legends, Jinx. I don't know if you know her.
I know Jinx, yeah.
And basically, he got the interview, not the job yet. Now, what set him apart from everyone else? This is super important. Now, listen, this is gonna be a really important point. The person who accepted his job, like he accepted his resume and everything and got him onto the team, said you weren't trying to sell yourself out, like hard sell yourself to us like everyone else. That you weren't like being just all fake. You were just being real because he basically did it as a meme. He was just being chill and all. It's
Mm.
and he also gave the example like when you want to try to get a date with the girl and it like people who always like try to hard sell themselves, like shower the girl with compliments and all that. It doesn't
It
work
does
like that.
not work out. You can't try too
Exactly.
hard.
It's the
You have
same with
to,
getting a job.
yeah, give and take. Don't be too needy.
Exactly.
You don't need them, they need you. Just a little bit of attention.
Yeah, it should be like at the same level.
Yeah,
Like if you need to be needy a lot to get to them, like no, 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 just forget it.
yeah,
I don't know why is
exactly.
this turning into relationship advice. Sorry.
And there's a lot of parallels in life, man.
Yeah, exactly. And all right, now let's move on to the next question. What are you working on right now that you can tell us about, and like basically what kind of project is it?
Right now, I'm on a project with Titmouse full time, and it's on this super amazing um, album coming out soon. Uh, EDM music, and it's a bunch of music videos. So, in a very, yeah, yeah, that's all I'm gonna say. And it's
All
gonna
right,
come out soon in a few months. So I'm excited to
in
have an
summer,
update. Um, I would say so. Yes, probably
early
if
summer. Good.
everything goes well. But my role ends very soon, probably like next month, and then I'm free.
Awesome.
Yay.
And what? All right. Next question is kind of like a fun question, like because I like it because I always get really interesting answers from everyone.
Mhm.
Um, what area beside the area you're working on right now are you willing to explore and learn in the future if you had free time? And let me just reiterate that question is in a different way. Imagine right now we got a text that it said you $1 million has been deposited into your bank account. I mean,
Oh,
awesome, right? Which means you don't have to worry about bills and a lot of stuff in your life. You have, which means eventually and initially you're gonna have a lot of free time. You know
hmm.
what would you do in that free time? That's the real question. Now, it could be doing anything. It could be learning a new skill. It could be, I don't know, buying a van and just traveling all across Americas. I mean, just this is a question we want to get to know the guests a bit more with their personality.
Mhm.
It says a lot about them.
Did you say a million or a billion?
Does it matter?
A
Yeah, it
million is
matters, but
billion
all
is
right,
a lot
million.
more.
Yeah, that's Jeff Bezos money. Yeah. No,
Okay.
million.
Okay. If it's a million, I would say probably break that. I would probably break down that million into a bunch of different funds because I want to try to be smart with the money and invest some of it so that it's continuing to make some money. Um, put some of it into my parents' retirement so that they can have they can go on their traveling dream
Oh, that's
and not
nice.
have to worry so much. And then like another section of that money would probably be starting a business, something like that.
Now, the money part aside, in the free time, what would you do?
Free time, I think it would be a lot of, say, if I create a business, I would probably be spending a lot of my time in that and getting the right people to get information from of how to run one properly and the right networks, maybe like people to hire, being able to pay people like that. Um, yeah, I think it would be a lot of just like company building and developing and talking to the right people. And I think it would be related to some sort of creative studio, would be really awesome. Like trying to bring an IP to life or something would be really dope.
Hmm.
Yeah. But if you said a billion, then
Oh
that to me
yeah,
is
that's a
then
different
that is
story.
that's a
Yeah.
lot of money, man. So that would be I would have some more funds into investing into my friends' projects or my friends' properties or my friends' business ventures.
By the way, is that Onion your dog?
Yes, my dog. Ah, you know my dog. Yes, Onion.
Yeah, I mean, I check everyone's bio when the guests when they come by, and it
Oh yeah,
hasn't.
my
Uh,
furry friend is Onion. She tries to act like a guard dog, but she is so nice. She would never. She's just rude.
I mean, that's kind of contradictory. She's trying to act like a guard dog, but she's nice. I mean, usually Chihuahuas and like small dogs like that are usually more fierce and like they want to get to you or even be competitive with our dogs. And I mean, that's just interesting. The big dogs usually are just more chill. I don't know.
Yeah, I know. It's just like, why are these small dogs so
They're more
angry?
spicier. Yeah.
Yeah, why are they so spicy?
All right, now with everything that's been said and done on this episode, to conclude all we discussed, give us a roadmap for someone who is zero in visual arts and design and wants to get to the place you are in terms of skill set. Like, I mean, anything that could come to your mind, courses, books, basically give us a step by step roadmap from zero to where you are.
Roadmap for myself or someone who is
Zero in visual arts, of course.
zero. Okay. Well, that's zero. I think it would, okay, probably would start by figuring out what type of subject matter a person tends to lean towards, whether it's characters or environments, cars. What do they like to draw? And do they like to draw or do they like to paint? I think there are people who lean towards line art and people who lean towards being more painterly. So figuring that initial foundation, and I think, okay, you're saying the quickest way to get a job from zero.
No, no, not about job. It's about skill set.
Skill set. Okay, yeah. Then I would definitely emphasize strong foundation, strong foundations in perspective, in values, in um, painting, understanding 3D forms, um, and doing a lot of master studies and style studies to figure out not just the technique, but the style that you lean towards, whether that's more flat and graphic or if that is more sculptural and 3D. There's like a term for it. There's no tan, and there is chiaroscuro or something. I think that's called. But it's like the difference between like a flat graphic style, like um, the Japanese traditional prints that are really flat. They're called,
Yeah, I think I saw them.
you know what I mean? They're
Hmm.
like mostly line art and flat graphic. Um, and the other side would be like the fine art painting look, where it's very sculptural and um, shows a lot of shadows and forms turning. Um, and I think it's very essential someone figures that out, the direction they want. And then after that, it's a lot of just honing in, a lot of repetitive practicing, bizcom, dynamic sketching. Um, and I think one of the most important things that people should hone is their values. Having really strong value system uh, lends itself to having very strong colors. And yeah. yeah, strong values and strong understanding of 3D form, I think would be two skills that would help anyone be very successful no matter what style or look that they want to go for.
All right, I think that's it. And thank you so much for coming by. And where can people contact you if they had a question?
My email, wei, dot Callie, Callie, at gmail.com.
Hmm.
But I'm also on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. You can just shoot me a message. I'm down to talk. Yeah.
All right, thanks a lot for again for coming by. And well, that's it, everyone. Thanks to everyone who joined us and listened to this episode. Why did I say join us? This isn't a live recording session, but I mean, yeah, you get the point.
Yeah.
And yeah, have a good day. Stay safe. Bye.
Thank you
See you
so
next
much.
episode.
See
Bye.
you.